Saturday, the 21st of December, the Pain Game Live is back in the Kingdom Arena, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as Riyadh Season serves up another classic. Yes, the heavyweight championship of the world is on the line, and the two best heavyweights alive do battle in the rematch. And this time, it's personal. The undisputed cruiserweight and heavyweight champion of the world, Oleksandr Usyk.
Don't be afraid. I will not leave you alone.
And Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury.
I won't be doing any more interviews with you little top bearded
No worries, mate. Well, you can't please everyone. The first fight was a war, with Usyk starting quickly, but Tyson regained control, only for Usyk to rock Tyson worse than we've ever seen before. And Tyson says his rematches always end in a knockout, and he's coming for the kill. But will it be Usyk on the canvas at the end of the fight, or him? Find out with us on the Pain Game live on YouTube, X, and your alternative commentary on DAZN.
You're in the rematch. Fight talk! You know what's coming for you. I'm gonna you up, bitch.
Don't be afraid.
What do you remember about that left hand in round 9?
It was perfect.
I will not leave you alone again.
Well, you had your little chance to knock me out, didn't you? Couldn't do it, bitch, could you? Hit me with 10 shots in a row and couldn't do it.
You too have chance.
Two best boxers in the world fighting for the undisputed heavyweight championship. This is the biggest fight.
Yes. All right, it's time for the face-off reaction, and I'm already at a 10 for this fight because the first one was a classic. We had both fighters having moments of dominance in that fight. We had the Fury on his last legs. We thought he was gone. He somehow survives, and we are just so lucky to be able to witness two of the greatest heavyweights of our generation go at it for a second time. But who is going to show the mental edge in today's face-off?
Talk to these guys and they will go face to face right now here live on DAZN.
Fight talk!
By the way, if you do want to purchase the fight, our link is in the description below, DAZN.com/TrueGeordie. You get the best deal, and also you'll be helping support the Pain Game. Appreciate yous.
My focus is 21st December.
He looks like an assassin, doesn't he?
He looks like a sexy beast. It suits him. The shaved head suits him. He looks sexy.
So Fury's being jokey Fury in this one, right? And it was interesting to know how he was going to go about it this time, because the first time he was all out aggression. He wanted to put Oleksandr Usyk in a place of fear. He's not doing that this time. Is that because he's just in a good mood? Maybe. But it is possible that he also just looks at Usyk and thinks, I can't break you mentally. I've done this to people before. It doesn't work on you. And also, now that he's taken some massive shots off Usyk, he's probably not feeling like he can intimidate him. So why bother?
Do you feel like you clearly won? I know he believes that he won that fight.
My hands was here. I win. Thank you, God. But if Tyson think what Tyson win, no problem. For me, no problem. Listen, we have one more fight. 21st December.
For sure.
We both put on a good fight, the best we could do, and you know his country's at war, so people are siding with the country at war, but make no mistake, I won that fight in my opinion, and I'll be back. I got a rematch clause.
Yeah. The country is at war bit. That wasn't a good look. It suggests that, you know, the judges are thinking about, yeah, but Ukraine are at war, so I'm going to deduct the point for that. Do you know, it doesn't make sense. Are you saying that this whole thing was rigged to cheer up the Ukrainian people? What are we doing? It's a silly comment, and as long as he's not saying it here now, we'll chalk it up to him being buzzed.
And the reason you thought the judges gave it to him because his country was at war. Do you regret saying that?
No, I don't regret anything. Why would I regret that?
So you really think they voted for him to
Listen,
win?
it was a close fight. Usyk got the raise, like he just said. He won the fight. Fair play to him. I don't make excuses. Man beat me on the night. Fair play. I believe I won the fight. That's my opinion. Just like if you had an opinion, he had an opinion. Everybody had an opinion. But he got his hand raised, and I congratulated him. It's on TV to see. I kissed his cross. I said, thank you very much.
And Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year.
You fucking sly dog. The manager of Usyk. He's done him there, like. So, first of all, Fury doesn't take back the whole, you know, you won because Ukraine are at war comment, which is a shock to me. But the fact that Krasik has just done him with that comment, bringing that up, because he was so buzzed. He wished people Happy New Year. That is mental. I've never known that before in a post-fight speech. That's why I'm giving Fury a little bit of slack here, because he was so buzzed. He wished everyone Happy New Year back in the summer.
You know what I mean? So when we go again, we go again. That's it. There's no animosity. I don't hate Usyk. You know, he's a good God-fearing Christian family man. Why would I hate him? And he's made me millions of dollars. I love him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got no hate. You can't make hate between these two. You know, he's a boxer, I'm a boxer. You know, it was a great fight. Regardless of the decision, I've said this many, many times, he gets the W. Fantastic for him and his family. Well done. Congratulations. Like I said, God gave him the result. Fantastic. But regardless of that, even from my point of view, it was a great fight to watch for the fans. I'm sure that they were entertained. It had everything. It had me doing great things, him doing great things. It was a great fight.
Fury is absolutely spot on, yeah. That might be the first time I've said this on the Ping Game, but he is spot on. It was a fucking amazing fight, and it did have everything. But I feel like the way he's talking and talking and talking and talking, it's a bit of coping here of he knows he lost that fight, and he doesn't feel great about it. So he's just talking and talking. He can't even shut himself up at this point. Like, it's just, the sentence is never ending. And he's not even giving himself a second to breathe. And you can feel that uncomfortableness of what went down that night. And as much as he's saying, I don't hate the guy, I believe him. But let's not make a mistake about this. Tyson Fury is a fierce competitor. He is a stubborn, won't be beaten individual. And you don't get up from the kind of shots we've seen this man take unless you're a born winner and someone who can't take defeat. He refuses to lose. As much as sometimes we need to go to negative traits within us to achieve that, be it pride, ego, and other things that we might not love about ourselves. In a fight, those things really fucking help you. And some of those very things that he needs to come out with a win are bubbling up underneath. And I like to see it because it tells us he's really taking this rematch seriously, because you can see he's struggling with the whole point of what happened there. And if you're a Tyson Fury fan, this is a good thing. You want to see him bothered, as much as he's trying to hide it.
You said it was an easy fight until he landed a punch from the gods.
Yeah.
Why would you describe it as a punch from the gods?
He could have punched me with that punch a million times. It may not have had any effect. But, you know, he punched me and he had an effect, and that was great.
That's the narrative for a lot of Fury fans, right? Fury was on top, he was in control, Usyk lands this shot and he turns the fight round in his favour. And some people might even look at that and say, oh, it was a lucky punch. But the reality is very different, in my opinion. Oleksandr Usyk had landed similar shots to that multiple times leading up to that 9th round. And in fact, you can see the beginning of it all happening the round beforehand, and it was no accident that when Oleksandr Usyk threw that shot, Tyson Fury's hands were like down by his side practically. If his defense had been on point, that shot wouldn't have happened. But the reason it wasn't on point is because he was getting ran into the ground cardio-wise by Usyk, who was pushing him, and he just couldn't keep up. So there was nothing from the gods about that. That was from Oleksandr Usyk.
What do you remember about that left hand in round 9?
It was perfect.
But you had your little chance to knock me out, didn't you? Couldn't do it, could you? Hit me with 10 shots in a row and couldn't do it.
You too have chance, brother. You too have chance.
You
Yeah.
couldn't even put me down after being on Bambi legs. You hit me 10 shots. 10 clean shots on the chin. No canvas touch.
Yeah.
You're in the rematch.
I really like the way Fury's turned that around, though. Like, for his own state of mind, that is him showing strength out of weakness there. And it is quite clever. He's saying, look, you had all that time and you still couldn't knock me out. The reality is, Tyson Fury has a fucking great chin. And his powers of recovery are insane. He's proven time and time again, even amongst the biggest punchers, like Wilder in his prime, couldn't knock him clean out cold. What Usyk did show in that moment is, in close range, he has a lot of power. And I think Fury will now know, if I let him get that close, I'm in trouble this time round. And he may have underestimated that in the first fight. And that knowledge could help him win the second fight, right? He's now going to understand the real dangers of fighting a Usyk. And it is partly about who can put those lessons to better use for their game plan in the rematch. But when we talk about the fact that Usyk didn't knock him out, you could argue quite easily that if that referee didn't step in when he did Fury a big favour. Usyk had that last shot ready to go, and that could have been the one that finished him. And while he didn't knock Fury out, he did hurt Fury worse than we've ever seen anyone hurt Fury. And what that now means is you have to put some respect on Usyk's name, because while he was this blown up middleweight beforehand, because he came up from cruiserweight, he has good power, and more importantly, He was always going to hit Tyson Fury more than anyone had ever hit him before. I said that in my prediction video. And I said he might even drop Fury. And it's not just about power. It's about volume, this fight. Fury's not really had to worry about that as much with anyone because he's usually the fitter guy and he's usually the better boxer. And that's what makes this matchup beautiful because Usyk takes some of those things away from Fury, despite not having the size and the reach.
Like Tupac said, you hit me with your best shots and couldn't do all. You know what's coming for you. I'm going to you up, bitch.
In the build-up to the last fight, his father headbutted a member of the team. Blood coming down. We all remember that.
That was a perfect headbutt as well.
What's going to happen if somebody in his family does that to your team?
That ain't going to happen. Let's not go there. That ain't going to happen.
Fair play to Frank Warren, just trying to show a bit of decorum here. This is a professional boxing match. We're going to have John on a leash. You know what I mean?
Was your last training camp as good as it could have gone? I know you were dealing with the cut.
No,
you
it was.
Spar.
I don't make any excuses. It was a fantastic training camp. Never once have I ever said I had any problems in camp because I didn't. I've heard a load of talking. I had a load of problems in camp, but I didn't have no problems. I had a fantastic training camp.
One thing I do believe is that Tyson Fury had to have had a good training camp because we've seen the state of him against Francis Ngannou. He looked like shit. I think that was the best wake-up call in the world for him because the shape he showed in, the weight he showed up in, was the lightest he'd been in years. Even after taking a battering from Oleksandr Usyk, he went 12 fucking rounds. So for people who are boxing experts to insinuate that Tyson Fury wasn't fit enough because he wasn't quite as fit as a man 40 pounds lighter than him, I don't understand the logic. He was fucking insanely fit. In fact, it's insane how Tyson Fury, and this is from someone who, you know, I'm not a fan of him anymore, I once was, but at 270-ish pounds can be that fit and light on his feet. It doesn't make sense. So to say he wasn't fit, it's just a way of making excuses for Fury and taking away from the brilliance of Usyk, probably said by people who did not pick Usyk to win and are trying to figure out a way that Fury can win the rematch. If he's going to win the rematch, it is not about Tyson Fury's fitness, let me tell you that. He was very fit. His tactics absolutely can change. Maybe his weight, be a bit heavier, a bit stronger, potentially that might change. It's not about his fitness.
I did nothing wrong. I did everything good. So did he. He got the decision. A split decision. A cat's whisker, innit?
Fury's right. He was performing fantastically. And yes, he made some mistakes. So you're saying he didn't. Usyk made him make mistakes. He's one of the greatest fighters ever. Just the same way Usyk made some mistakes because Fury's a great fighter. But to say this was a split decision, it's absolutely nonsense. One of those rounds was a 10-8. If you watch that fight all the way through and think that even with that 10-8, Oleksandr Usyk did not win enough rounds to win that fight, you're either two things. You don't know what you're watching, or secondly, you don't care about what you're watching. All you care about is your love for Tyson Fury and you don't want to know. Because that, to anyone who's got a basic idea of boxing, in my opinion, was so obviously an Oleksandr Usyk win. And when people say, oh, well, it was close, I mean, how close do you think it was? It was a 10-8 round in there, and I thought Usyk won more than enough rounds for this to be clear. Yes, competitive, but a clear winner. And honestly, this has inspired me. I'm actually going to go through the fight. I'll do a video on this, and I'm actually going to score the rounds one by one, and you can watch it and disagree with me in the comments, and we can figure this out on the Pain Game. How close was that first fight? Because I don't know if it's as close as what a lot of people think it was, but I could be wrong. I'll watch it and we'll find out.
You seemed like you were fighting better going forward, but you chose to fight backwards a lot.
Yeah.
Am I saying that wrong? Was that the strategy?
I chose to fight backwards, yeah.
But going into the fight, you're like, I'm going to have to chase him. He's going to be a rabbit.
Yeah.
But you were kind of the one going backwards. Why was that?
Because I'm a slick counterpunch boxer, as you can say. As you can ask by Usyk's jaw and eye bone. When I right uppercut, lead right uppercut was hitting him in the face. Boom!
He says I chose to fight backwards. I don't think Oleksandr Usyk gave him a choice because Oleksandr Usyk, being the smaller guy, needed to get on the inside to do maximum damage. If you do what a lot of people do with Fury, with those big long arms and that long neck and reach, and let him just stay at arm's length, he's just going to fuck around with you and deal with you. So Usyk had to get on the inside, had to push him backwards. But a lot of people weren't sure whether he could do that because of, potentially his punching power wouldn't allow for that. And that's a lot of the time what dictates who takes the center, who takes the lead. But Usyk ain't a lot of fighters. He used feints. He used clever footwork. He was constantly making Tyson Fury guess what the fuck was coming next. And that's why he was backpedaling, because he was getting caught a lot early on. He didn't give Tyson Fury a choice. He made him go backwards. And Fury's right. He is a fucking slick counter-puncher. I'm not denying that. But the amount he was pushed back, the amount his legs were working early on, the way he was just pushed around that ring a lot, that wasn't a choice at all. But I have to give credit where it's due. That uppercut and some of those hooks from Fury on the back foot, they were beautiful. But that's not how he wanted to fight entirely.
What's the plan for the next one?
Same. I don't need to do anything more because it was close. So if I don't get a knocked, I'm 10-8 round in round 9, then I maybe win the fight. No? If I on the cards, yeah.
Did you hear and I'm not one for like looking too deep into like little things, because I know some people could be like, you're reaching there, Geordie. But listen to the pitch of Big Tyson Fury's voice here.
If I on the cards, yeah.
I don't know if he believes that. I'm not saying that he won't do some similar things to last time, but if he allows Usyk to have that same front foot pressure and to push him around like that, relying on catching him on the way in and that being his way of a method of victory, I just don't think is, now looking back at it, the best way. There's got to be a little bit more resistance from Fury. For example, the way Fury was jabbing in that fight, he had like this stiff arm out, and Usyk was finding a way to go either side of it and get it on the inside quite easily. There needs to be an authoritative jab there where he stops Usyk in his tracks and gives him something else to worry about. And I think that flick jab that Fury uses, it's just not deterrent enough. That's just one example of a way that Fury could try and control that a bit more and stop Usyk from just bypassing what defense Fury had out there at that point. He needs to stand his ground a bit more, in my opinion. But if you do that, you're risking the quick feet of Usyk, moving around and picking at you. So I get, like, that's why he went with that style. It was defensive. It was fuck me, what the fuck am I dealing with here? But if you don't have more of a go this time round, well, then you probably get the same result again, in my opinion.
Do you feel like he ran from you in that fight?
No, I say not run. Don't be afraid. I will not leave you alone again.
That's become one of the greatest quotes in boxing history, because when he first said it, people were like, he's a funny guy, and the language barrier, and it's the way he delivers it, and people were sort of, what does he even mean by that? And look, I mean, a lot of boxers would have figured out, like, I'm going to be on your fucking case. The fact that it was a bit cryptic, and then when you watch the fight and you seen that Usyk was all over him like a rash, it just became the tagline for the entire fight. I love it because, Usyk is learning English, and the fact that he's put that out there and it's become his thing is great.
And what does that even mean? Don't be afraid of a boxing match, please.
Yeah, it's a boxing match.
I've had many boxing matches before and not been afraid.
You know what he means, Big Tyson. You know he means don't be afraid of getting knocked out, because that nearly happened. And no one wants to get chinned like that, right? And even before the first fight, Fury was showing signs that he was wary of Usyk. In that press conference where Fury's posing to the crowd and Usyk's just glaring at him in the side of his face, that became a meme of all memes. Fury behaved differently. And it was an acknowledgement of, I'm in a real fucking fight here, big time. And it is going to be fascinating to see if the level of beating Usyk put on Fury in that 9th round has left any psychological issues behind. Because we've seen with fighters like Anthony Joshua, when you get decked, it's hard to come back and be the same fearless animal that you once were. Now, granted, Fury has shown insane mental strength. I say what I say about him, as his character has pissed me off at times, but his mental strength has been phenomenal in that boxing ring. So I wouldn't expect him to fight any differently, because I do believe he's a very mentally strong man. But it'd be interesting if he did. It'd be interesting if he shows any signs in the build-up, maybe in the weigh-in the day before, anything like that, where we get to look at, oh, you really are a bit more wary of him this time round, because now you've seen not only can he outbox you, he can hurt you.
I look at Tyson, I looked at that first fight he had with Deontay Wilder, where he went in as an underdog. Why they made him that, I don't know, but they did. And I look at that last round, and he won that fight, but I look at that last round, but then I looked at the next fight and what he learned from that fight and what he had to do. And that's what I like about Tyson. He's got a great boxing brain. He knows what he has to do.
I mean, it's a great point from Frank Warren. As much as I'm hoping he's wrong, because I'm rooting for Usyk, Fury's a smart man in there, and he does download the data from his opponents, and now he's got 12 rounds of data on Oleksandr Usyk. Now, what would give me a little bit of confidence in Usyk is there was a point where Fury was on top in that fight after a really good start from Usyk, but Usyk used that data and then switched it back in his favour, and he showed his boxing IQ is also great, if not better potentially. But I think that this rematch, a huge part of it, because they are so well matched, is going to come down to who has watched those rounds back, marinated this in their brain, and come up with the best formula of how to approach the rematch. That is so key.
And good luck in the training camp. Prepare good. I hope you get through it all great and we have a great fight on the night.
Saying you too.
Yeah?
Yeah. Dangerous, please. Аккуратней. Be cautious, please. Because it was great fight.
And that was Usyk versus Fury, the face-off. And again, thank you to all of you lot who put me in a position in life where I can go to this fight in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We're going to be doing the live stream the 21st of December. It's going to go off. I'm going to be at a 10 on this one because it's one of the greatest fights I could ever dream to be in the room with. Make sure you're there watching on the live stream. We're going to be live on the Pain Game YouTube channel, X, and DAZN. Alternative commentary, and you can buy the DAZN pay-per-view using the link in the description below. Let me know your thoughts on the face-off. Have I been a bit biased? I've tried to be really reasonable on this one. I hope that comes across. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one.